He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Friday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us as we close out the week with you here on 1010XL. And what an interesting week it has been. Are you kidding me? Monday morning, Doug Peterson fired as head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We obviously know Trent Baalke remains as the general manager, and we know that virtual interviews have begun here in Jacksonville. They reportedly met with Kansas City Chiefs defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo earlier today. They will meet with both Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn of the Detroit Lions tomorrow. Reportedly will meet with former Jets head coach Robert Saleh on Tuesday. Keep in mind, guys like Liam Cohen, Kellen Moore, Todd Monken, Brian Flores, the Jaguars can't meet with yet because of NFL rules, because those teams are playing on Wild Card Weekend. But it has been a crazy week for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we will certainly continue the conversation tonight. Former Jaguar wide receiver, my buddy Cecil Shorts, joins me in about 15 minutes or so, and we will get Cecil's reaction to everything that has transpired here in Northeast Florida over these last 5 or 6 days. You know, we've been so engrossed in Jaguar content. Obviously, you look around, had a great game last night. I mean, a great game last night. Notre Dame knocking off Penn State to advance to the national championship game. They will play the winner of the game going on right now between Texas and Ohio State. We will keep you updated. Gator basketball with a dominating performance over number 1 Tennessee on Tuesday. They hit the road tomorrow to Fayetteville to take on John Calipari and the Arkansas Razorbacks. And, oh, by the way, it is Wild Card Weekend. 6 NFL playoff games begin tomorrow afternoon. You got 2 tomorrow, 3 on Sunday, and 1 on Monday evening. So it should be a fantastic weekend in sports, and that's where I want to begin. Because every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal. It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
Again, 6 playoff games. Should be good stuff, man. When you look at these games, obviously, you kind of relate the Jaguars to them, and you see what these teams have that the Jaguars do not. And my first response would be, well, a lot more than what the Jaguars have. All of these games have interesting storylines. Let's begin tomorrow in Houston. Chargers, Texans. Chargers, a wild card team, a better record than the AFC South champion. Doesn't that sound familiar? Sounds like 2 years ago, right? When Justin Herbert and the Chargers came here, got up 27-0, and ultimately blew the game to the Jaguars. They now have another opportunity against an AFC South champion, this time in Houston, a Houston team that is overrated, not near as good as we all made them out to be coming into the year. And to me, this game is the Jim Harbaugh factor, man. Keep in mind, the Chargers lost Austin Eckler, Mike Williams, Gerald Everett, Keenan Allen, and it didn't matter. They're way better than they were a year ago. They're back in the playoffs, and I think they're going to beat Houston tomorrow. I don't think Houston's very good. I think the Chargers are the better basketball team. So I will take the road team, give me the Chargers out of Los Angeles to beat Houston tomorrow in the 5-4 matchup. When you look as well tomorrow night with Baltimore and with Pittsburgh, Good old-fashioned grudge match, right? Ravens-Steelers, wild card weekend in the playoffs. Now, the interesting thing for Baltimore is their best wide receiver, Zay Flowers, is out of this game. He got hurt last week. How will that affect Lamar Jackson and that offense? Pittsburgh is limping coming into the playoffs. They're not near the team they were in October and November. I think this is Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. Even without Zay Flowers, I just find it hard to believe that Pittsburgh's going to go in there and knock off the Ravens. So give me Baltimore tomorrow. So I'll take the Chargers and the Ravens to win tomorrow in the playoffs. On Sunday, Denver and Buffalo. You know, the more people I've talked to this week, and truthfully, I haven't thought a ton about this. I just thought Buffalo, obviously, the 2-7, the Bills should win the game, right? Yet you talk to people that cover the league, and they will tell you, at least the ones I've talked to this week, that Denver matches up fairly well with Buffalo. If the NFL is truly about matchups, you look at what that Bronco defense does well compared to what that Buffalo offense does well, and that could potentially be a tough matchup for the Bills. Also, a lot of pressure on Buffalo, right? Being the home team, the overwhelming favorite, playing a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix. All eyes point to Buffalo winning this game, and look, I'm going to pick Buffalo to win, but just take note that I've had 3 or 4 different people that cover the league on this week that think Denver has more of a chance than certainly what a lot of others do. But at the end of the day, in Buffalo, Josh Allen, give me the Bills to win the game. So those are my 3 AFC winners. Interesting, the 3 AFC games are the first 3 games of the playoffs, right? It goes AFC, AFC, AFC. So give me the Chargers, give me the Ravens, and give me the Bills. As we get to the NFC, I think some really intriguing matchups. Green Bay, Philadelphia, who knows? Both teams have injury problems coming in. How healthy is Jalen Hurts? For that matter, how healthy is Jordan Love? Green Bay is going to be without wide receiver Christian Watson, who tore his ACL last week. Philadelphia pretty banged up as well. But again, it's just hard to pick against Philadelphia. It's hard to imagine Green Bay going in there and winning that game. It's tempting, but give me Philadelphia to win. When you look at Washington-Tampa, I got to tell you, I might be more excited about this game than maybe any other game this week. I love everything about this Washington-Tampa game. Jaden Daniels doing what he's done for Washington. Baker Mayfield doing what he's done for Tampa. Obviously, from a Jaguar point of view, we might have our eyes Sunday night on Liam Cohen, right, and what that Buccaneer offense does. Man, why do I think Washington may go down there and win? I know rookie quarterbacks in the playoffs, particularly on the road, usually don't fare very well. But it's not as if the Bucs are world beaters, right? They got a good offense. Their defense has certainly struggled at times. Give me Washington. Give me Washington to pull off the mild upset. And then finally, Monday night, Vikings-Rams, a game that has been moved out of L.A. due to those awful fires. A game that will be played in Glendale, Arizona. They sold 50-plus thousand tickets to that thing in less than 2 hours. Certainly will be a nice crowd there, even though it's technically a neutral site game. Love the Vikings. Rams are clearly the underdog here, but man, the Rams, there is something to be said for them. They've flown under the radar the entire year. No one has taken them seriously, and yet you look, and they are NFC West champions. You would think Minnesota will win this game. I do wonder, though, kind of where Minnesota is after that loss to Detroit last week. Everything tells you to pick Minnesota, but I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to take Matt Stafford. I'm going to take Puka Nacua. I'm going to take Cooper Kupp and give me the L.A. Rams. I think the Rams pull off what would be a pretty big upset, even though they are the home team. and they knock off the Vikings. So my 6 winners, mark it down, take it to the bank. My 6 playoff winners this week. In the AFC, give me the LA Chargers, give me the Baltimore Ravens, and give me the Buffalo Bills. In the NFC, give me Philadelphia, give me Washington, and give me the LA Rams. I think it's going to be a fun weekend. I hope there's some intrigue. Certainly Brian Flores, Minnesota, Liam Cohen, Tampa Bay, Kellen Moore, Philadelphia. All of these guys the Jaguars have requested to interview. Todd Monken, Baltimore. Keep an eye on all of them. Do a little scouting from a Jaguar point of view. Should be fun from that aspect as well. 6 playoff games over 2 days, 48 hours roughly. Sign me up. Sign me up. Gator basketball tomorrow before the playoff games start in Fayetteville against Arkansas. How will Florida respond to all the hype? Everybody's told the Gators how great they are for the last 3 days after beating the number 1 team in the land, Tennessee, by 30. Are they going to listen to that? Are they going to read their own press clippings? Or are they going to go into Fayetteville, into a tough environment, Bud Walton Arena, against John Calipari and the Razorbacks? I think it's a tough game for Florida. They're probably the more talented team, but winning on the road in the SEC is going to be hard all year long. Biggest question for the Gators, are they going to play defense? They did not play defense at Rupp Arena in Lexington. They did play defense against Tennessee. Think about that. Florida gave up 106 in that loss to Kentucky and surrendered only 43 in their win over Tennessee. A 63-point difference. I have no idea how you would even look this up, but that's got to be some sort of record, right? One team allows 63 less points in a game than they did 72 hours prior. That is wild. I think Florida wins the game. I don't think it's going to be particularly pretty, but give me the Gators over Arkansas tomorrow in a close one. Also, as we switch gears to the Jaguars, former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts joins me in less than 10 minutes. Good news, I guess, right? Interesting news today in regards to Jacksonville that actually has nothing to do with the head coaching search. Only 1 game, it looks like, in London for the Jaguars. Normally, the last couple of years, they would play a quote-unquote home game and then a quote-unquote road game. Stay over there for 2 weeks. Not this year. The NFL announced the Jets, the Browns, and the Jaguars are the 3 home games, home teams in London, and Jacksonville is not scheduled to travel to play the New York Jets or Cleveland. They get the Jets here, but they don't get the Jets in New York. So if the Jets and the Browns are the other 2 home teams, that means only 1 game for the Jaguars in London. That probably has to do with all the West Coast trips the Jaguars have next year. I think the Jaguars go to the West Coast like 3 or 4 times next year. There will be a lot of frequent flyer miles if you're going to travel with the Jaguars. And because of all those West Coast trips, maybe that's why they're not going to play 2 games in London. More on the Jaguars head coaching search, more on Trent Baalke coming back, and we'll put a final wrap, at least for now, on Doug Peterson being fired. Cecil Shorts, former Jaguar wide receiver. Trust me, Cecil's got a lot of thoughts about everything that transpired in Jacksonville this week, and he comes up in less than 10 minutes. I will tell you, Ohio State has taken a 7-0 lead over Texas midway through the first quarter, actually getting towards the end of the first quarter, and Ohio State is driving again in Texas territory. Boy, the Buckeyes have been very good. I'm old enough to remember Michigan planting the flag at Ohio Stadium, and I don't know what's happened since then, but ever since that moment, Ohio State has wiped the floor with Tennessee and Oregon, and they're up early on Texas 7-0, and they're driving in Texas territory as we're getting near the end of the first quarter. We will keep you updated. Former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts joins us next on a Friday night in Jacksonville, Florida. We're glad you're with us. It's Hacker After Dark right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
Mia O'Brien.
I ask questions, I interview people.
And you get paid for that?
Yeah.
She is a reporter on Helmets and Heels.
She's a special woman with a smile could light up your heart.
Weekdays noon to 2 on 1010XL.
Hacker here with a question. Was your goal to lose weight this year? If so, are you already down 31 pounds? Now, that's a serious question because I dropped 31 pounds my first 3 weeks alone with Awaken 180 weight loss. Now, I had more to lose than most, but Dempsey, Matt Hayes both dropped 18 in their first 3 weeks. That's how fast the weight can fall off when you choose the solution for weight loss. Where am I now? I'm down over 115 pounds. My goal was to lose 100, but my new goal is to be under 200 pounds for the first time since I was in college. The results are real and the results are fast with Awaken 180. Whether you're not seeing these types of results with your new weight loss program or if you've already given up, don't. Do what we all did and make the call to Awaken 180. 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experience, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a professional stamp licker from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Martin Celery.
Oh, gosh. I can't wait to play, Bob.
Well, let's move things along. Tell him what he's won, Johnny.
Wait, but
That's right, Marty. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, we've stocked up on the remaining inventory of low-cost 2024 model air conditioners. So you win. We're passing the savings on to you.
Can I answer a question first?
We need to make room for the 25s, so we're offering great deals on AC replacements while supplies last.
Could I spin the wheel at least? I've been practicing for a year.
With last-minute deals like this, there's no question that you are cool.
What do I tell my kids?
There you go. Have a souvenir t-shirt.
Thanks.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Ever have one of those days where your gut just feels blah?
Yes.
Occasional bloating or gas could be signs that your gut is out of balance. But Align Probiotic can help. Align 24/7 Digestive Support is a daily use probiotic with a unique strain to help relieve occasional digestive issues. It's the #1 doctor-recommended brand. So when you feel the signs, it's time to try Align. Align Probiotic. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
You can't go inside your home team's locker room, so Jags beat reporter Hayes Carline goes there for you.
Work on three, 1, 2, 3,
Hayes Carline here. Find my blog at 1010XL.com.
Brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing, where quality and experience count.
Have you tried golfing at the improved Cimarron Golf Club? If you haven't, tell you what, you're missing out on the best deal in Jacksonville. Now, many of you have received a postcard in the mail, and of course, if you bring that with you, $45 plus tax to play. That includes a cart, lunch, and a beer at the brand new Stone Barrel Tap House. Now, go to the website, that is CimarronGolfClub.com, and sign up for the Wild One Loyalty Program. That's the Wild One Loyalty Program, and get all of these specials emailed to you from Cimarron.
Start the new year with a fresh look for your home. It's the Renewal by Andersen New Year's sales event. For a limited time, save 20% off on our energy-efficient windows and patio doors designed to keep your home comfortable year-round and your energy bills down. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation. But hurry, the special New Year's offer won't last. License number CGC 1527613.
Hi, Jags fans. Walker Little here for my friends at Kingfish Pest Control. Playing offensive line in the NFL, I must block and protect on every down. When it comes to keeping my home pest-free, I expect that same level of protection. So I contacted Kingfish after seeing thousands of positive online customer reviews about their service. I can confirm from personal experience, bugs don't stand a chance getting past Kingfish Pest Control. Do what I did. Reach out to Kingfish Pest Control to protect your home, a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Pick it here for Bow 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bow 9. Visit Bow 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bow 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Have you or someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI and all criminal offenses. I've been named the best DUI attorney in the state, and David has been named the best criminal defense lawyer in Jacksonville. In your battle with the justice system, there is only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Obviously, huge news with the Jacksonville Jaguars this week. Doug Peterson out as the Jaguar head coach. Trent Baalke remains as the general manager, as the search for a brand new head coach has begun with a lot of interview requests, and those virtual interviews will begin later this week. Let's talk to a former Jacksonville Jaguar. He joins me every week here on Hacker After Dark. That's my pal Cecil Shorts. Cecil, it's been a busy week here, man. Hope you had a happy holiday and a happy new year.
Man, happy New Year, RG. And yes, I've been watching from afar, trying to catch up and read everything. It's been crazy over there in Jacksonville, brother.
There's no doubt about that. Let's get your immediate reaction. Doug Peterson out, Trent Baalke remains. Your first reaction when you saw that Monday morning?
Surprised that Trent is still there. Teflon Trent. Surprised he's still around when he's kind of like the catalyst. He's the guy that brought everybody in and haven't done a good job, in my opinion. I kind of see the Doug thing happening. I think we all saw that coming. And Doug, I think, is a really good guy. Just he couldn't rally the troops. He just couldn't do a good job of getting the guys to play at a high level. But Trent staying is kind of mind-blowing to me. So it's going to be interesting. And then, honestly, what's mind-blowing is I'm watching the interview of Shad Khan. I believe Trent was on the Shad Khan call, and then he's like, hey, I'm willing to give up. You know, somebody convinces me that we need to make change in management. I will listen to that with Trent on the call. So it just seems very interesting, the dynamic of what all is going on in Jacksonville.
It was an incredibly awkward situation. There's no doubt about that. All right, I want to spend a majority of the time with Trent, but Doug Peterson. Cecil, the guy won a Super Bowl in Philadelphia, man. I mean, obviously he's an accomplished coach. There's a statue of him in the city of brother we love. Yet he lost 18 of his final 23 here in Jacksonville. In your opinion, why did it not work?
At the end of the day, he couldn't figure out a way to get those guys to play hard for him. Like that's just what it was. It was injuries that happened. It was just some interesting calls going on. But I think it's just at the end of the day, he couldn't find a way to get these guys rallied up and going. And as good as the guy he is, as good as he did, as good of a job he did in Philadelphia to win that Super Bowl, he could not figure it out for the life of him in Jacksonville. And I don't know why. I thought Doug was going to be somebody that is just going to be here for a while and make things work and get things going in the right direction. But for whatever reason, he just couldn't get it together. And I think when you're a leader of men and you can't get men to play at their highest level, to play their best, it's just time to move on. I think that was the right move for Jacksonville and for Doug.
Former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts. Cecil, when you talk about Trent Baalke, you know, it's not as if there are not positives, right? I mean, the guy found Brian Thomas Jr., and he accumulated other draft picks in drafting Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, that's a grand slam. You look at, Trayvon Walker, Anton Harrison, Tank Bigsby, Tyson Campbell. There's a lot of guys you can rattle off that Balky has drafted. Yet, Cecil, for every good thing you say about Trent, you can probably find a negative as well, which I think is why it's so surprising that he's going to remain here.
It's mind-boggling. I'll be honest with you. Like it's mind-boggling. So I'm not sure. I don't even have an answer for you, Archie. I'm just so surprised. And then what's really throwing me off, I'm still stuck on that interview. Like he said, Shad Khan, if somebody can come in and convince him that he'll be open to making a change. And I'm just like, why? What is happening? Like, I mean, it's good that he's honest about it, I guess, right? But I'm just like, what in the world is happening in Jacksonville? I'm not understanding everything. I'm not understanding what's happening. I'm not understanding the mindset. I do think if you're looking for a top head coach, that head coach and GM have to be on the same page. And I'm not sure if that would be the case with Trent and whoever else they bring in. Because if you, in my opinion, if you're willing to fire him, somebody convinces you, how much do you really like him? How much do you really trust him, right? So I think there's a lot of questions that have to be answered with Trent Baalke.
Cecil, speak to that dynamic. You played 7 years in the National Football League, 3 different organizations. You obviously have a great perspective on this. People talk about the synergy between the head coach and the GM, yet if you look, of the 6 job openings right now, 5 of them have a current GM in place, including here in Jacksonville, which is kind of against the grain a little bit, is it not?
It is. Normally when that's just not the normal setup. So it's a different dynamic going on right now across the league. And I'm wondering why. But there's a lot of good names out there for head coaches. Ben Johnson comes to mind, and then there's many others out there. Brian Flores, who had kind of redeemed himself throughout the years after leaving Miami. There's a lot of good pieces out there. They just got to find the right place for them. So it's going to be interesting to see how those dominoes fall.
Couple of more for former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts. Cecil, when you look at this team compared to the other openings, the Jets are open, the Saints are open, the Raiders came open yesterday. We know about the Bears as well. Of the openings, do you believe Jacksonville on the surface, roster-wise, is maybe the most appealing?
I do, honestly. You got your quarterback who just needs to stay healthy. He needs to have somebody come in and help develop him. I think your defense is not too far off. I think your offense is not too far off. You have pieces in place. You have playmakers around. You have cap space. I don't think you're too far off in Jacksonville. You have to find the right leader to come in and lead the troops. You got to find the right leader to come in and hold people accountable. You got to find the right leader to come in and really get these men to play hard for him and believe in themselves and understand what it takes to win. So you got to find the right guy that fits what they have in Jacksonville. But this is one of the best jobs, one of the best jobs on paper that you're going to find this offseason.
You know, everybody's talking about offensive guys, and I'm certainly not opposed to that, but I wanted to ask you, you're also a former Houston Texan. You still do a lot of work with the Texans organization. You look at what D'Amico Ryans has come in there and done in a very short amount of time. You look at Dan Quinn and what he did with the Washington Commanders this year. There is something to be said for the defensive side of the ball. I know Aaron Glenn is a very popular name, and I have no doubt you probably played many times against Aaron Glenn during your NFL career. What would you think if the Jaguars were to go on the defensive side of the football for a head coach?
I wouldn't mind it at all. I think when you look at somebody like D'Amico, they'll definitely have to be hands-on when it comes to the defense and make things exactly how they had it in their previous spot and really put the emphasis on how they wanted to look. So I think it'd be great. It's just we have a defensive coach. They have to be very mindful of who you're signing up for your OC. And you have to bring somebody in that, okay, say it's a newer guy that hasn't called plays before or is kind of younger to that area. You have to bring a mentor in with them, because you being a defensive guy, you're not the offensive. You can't necessarily you're the head coach. You're a defensive coach, though. That's your emphasis. So you can't necessarily give great advice or be there for that offensive coordinator. So you need to hire somebody either with experience, or if you hire a younger guy, have a mentor there, like a Jim Caldwell, like somebody that's been around a while, that called plays before, that understands, hey, this is what you need to do. So that OC can bounce ideas off of them and truly have a mentor there to help them going on. But that would be the biggest hire for that defensive coach. So Aaron Glenn, love the guy. He'll do great on defense, but you have to make sure your offense is rolling. You got to bring somebody in that's going to develop a quarterback, and also the OC has to have a mentor there to help him out.
Aaron Glenn among the list of Jaguar requests for interviews for their head coaching position. Obviously, Ben Johnson is the guy that everybody here in Jacksonville is talking about. Cecil, I know you've watched that Detroit team. You watched Detroit play Houston and the Jags this year. What is your thought about Ben Johnson? Is the hype warranted?
Oh, my gosh. Brilliant offensive mind. True developer. He's turned Jared Goff, helped resurrect his career. Not resurrect his career, but helped really Jared Goff really take the next step in his career. So I think when that just sticks out, because you want to see Trevor Lawrence take that next step. You want to see Trevor Lawrence really develop. You have playmakers similar to what they have in Detroit. So I love everything about him. I think he can be a true leader of men, and he'll definitely be one of the hottest names out there, and probably have his choice of where he wants to go.
Another guy is with one of your former teams. You also played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Liam Cohen, the OC down there, is the guy that I personally like a lot. You look at what he's done with Baker Mayfield. And Cecil, the Buccaneers had a lot of injuries this year, man. They lost Chris Godwin. They lost Mike Evans for a time, and it didn't seem to matter. Liam Cohen just kept doing his thing, and Baker Mayfield kept doing his thing. If not Ben Johnson, I got to tell you, I'm pretty high on Liam Cohen.
Man, I'm with you on that. No matter who was back there. And I tell you what, this is Baker Mayfield's best year. In year 7 or 8 for him, he had his best year under him. And it didn't matter who was there. Chris Godwin was hurt. Multiple guys got hurt. They went out and drafted some young talent. He helped develop Bucky Irving and other guys and put him in position to play well. So he would be a hot name on my list as well, for sure.
Final moments, former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Short. Cecil, as we begin to wrap up, Jaguar fans were fuming on Monday. I'm sure you saw it all over social media. It was not a happy time here in Duval County. As a former Jaguar player, a guy that's active on social media, what's kind of your message to Jaguar fans moving forward? Just stay the course, wait to see how it all plays out?
I think right now, just wait to see how everything plays out. You know, I think people will be very excited if Ben Johnson came. I think people will be very excited if certain names came in the town. And again, I don't think you're far off. I truly don't think you're far off. You have the right pieces in place. Just need somebody to come in and help develop those pieces. So just stay patient, see how it develops, and I think good things are coming.
Cecil, final question. Houston and the Chargers kick off the playoffs on Saturday. It's kind of deja vu for the Chargers, right? A better record than the AFC South champion, yet they have to go on the road. We saw that here in Jacksonville a couple years ago. Houston appeared to be kind of leaking oil a little bit coming into this game. What do you think between the Chargers and the Texans on Saturday?
First team with 24 wins. That's what I think. I think the Chargers are a physical team. They want to run the football. One of the reasons that they've had success is because they were physical up front, running the football and winning those close games. Texas, they have to score points. Their defense is going to be on point. But for Houston, they have to score points. And I think the first team of 24 will win the ball game. It should be a good one, but I think the first one, 24, is going to win.
Former Jaguar wide receiver Cecil Shorts. You get him every week here on 1010XL. Cecil, enjoy the playoff action. Next week, who knows where the Jaguar coaching search will be at that point. We'll also have a divisional round of the playoffs to preview. Thank you as always, my friend.
Hey, no problem, brother. Talk to you soon.
Always enjoy catching up with my buddy Cecil Shorts here on Hacker After Dark. We'll continue the Jaguar conversation coming up in less than 10 minutes. Matt Verderam of Sports Illustrated talking about the coaching search. Ben Johnson, he has an interesting take on the whole Ben Johnson situation, and we'll give those thoughts to you coming up here in just a little bit. Let me bring in Dylan Denmark. Denmark, you've been keeping an eye on Ohio State and Texas, the other national semifinal. The winner gets Notre Dame a week from Monday in the national championship game. Statistically, Ohio State's kind of dominating this thing, yet here we are, about 10 minutes or so to go before the half. It's only 7-0 Buckeyes. Should they be up by more?
Yeah. Ohio State was driving, and Henderson threw a dumb punch at a Texas player, backed him up 15. They forced him to punt, and they just punted again on their next drive. Ohio State's in control. Texas really can't do anything. They have no answer for Ohio State's defensive line, and they're kind of any yards they get, it feels like they're struggling to get.
You kind of saw this last night, though, right? Penn State jumped on top of Notre Dame 10-0. Notre Dame couldn't really do anything. Riley Leonard, there was some thought that he had a concussion. Notre Dame got that field goal right before the half that made it 10-3, and then we all know what happened in the second half. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be the same thing tonight because I think Ohio State's a different animal than Penn State, but there is no doubt for the first quarter and almost entire, 2 quarters of play in the first half, Penn State was the better team, or at least the better looking team last night. That did not matter, obviously, at the end of the game. Quickly, Denmark, Carson Beck to Miami, leaving Georgia. Your reaction when you saw that?
Kind of expected it. A lot of people were speculating Oregon. I kind of thought it was going to be Miami. Florida plays them. What is it, week 4? I'm fine with that. Playing Carson Beck week 4. That's kind of my first thought. Miami's losing a lot on their offense, and then they're probably going to go heavy portal again. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm not too worried when Florida plays Miami.
That was my initial thought too. I like Carson. I root for Carson. Obviously a Mandarin kid, but the fact that Florida plays them, I don't think Gator fans are going to lose any sleep.
No, and shout out to Miami. They did a great job of luring him in, the last, 9 hours. They had all their NIL and ready to go. It's a great job.
Yeah, obviously there was no conversation with Carson Beck when he was still at the University of Georgia. Those 9 hours were huge. Is that his girlfriend that I saw in that video?
Yes.
Wow.
Have been since, I don't know, 6-7 months. Yeah,
well, Miami obviously had that in their favor. If the girlfriend's in Coral Gables, that's an easy selling point.
I don't know if she's still playing because it's her and she's a twin.
Oh, is that one of the basketball players?
Yes.
Oh,
and she plays basketball. But yeah, everybody. I mean, as soon as you get the portal, that was what everybody's first thought was like, okay, he's probably going to go to Miami. And boom, because it's undefeated, man. Never lost.
Well, big news. Carson Beck to Miami. That'll certainly be interesting. And by the way, they start with like Notre Dame next year.
Yes, they do.
And then they play Florida in the first month. It's a pretty tough stretch for Miami right out of the gate. We'll see what happens with Carson Beck down there with the Hurricanes. Back into the National Football League, back into the Jaguar coaching surge, back into the coaching carousel, and a little NFL playoff talk. One of our favorites, Matt Verderam of Sports Illustrated, joins me next. It's a Friday night here in Northeast Florida with Dylan Denmark, the hacker Ryan Green with you here on Hacker After Dark, 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Every day is a perfect day for football on Jacksonville's football station. Just lock your radio on 1010XL to get your year-round football fix. 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hayes Carline from MyBookie. It's win now or go home. The NFL playoffs are the ticket to the biggest game of the year, and all roads lead to New Orleans. The NCAA playoffs will set the stage, but this is your chance to get in on every high-stakes moment along the way. Your road to New Orleans starts now with MyBookie. MyBookie is the ultimate destination for bettors who want more. Whether you're backing the underdogs or riding with the favorites, every drive, every touchdown, every moment is an opportunity to win big. Kick off your 2025 right with risk-free Thursdays. Place a bet. If it doesn't hit, MyBookie has your back. Dive into the Bet Boost tab to supercharge your picks and build that bankroll before the big game. The action doesn't stop. MyBookie's online casino keeps the excitement going 24/7. If you haven't joined yet, now's the time. Use promo code 1010XL on your first deposit, and MyBookie will hook you up with an instant bonus because you deserve to start strong.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Follow Florida Gators men's basketball on 1010XL. Brought to you by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And by Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Florida Gators. Mia O'Brien
is going to be the first woman president of the United States of America.
Catch me weekdays from noon to 2 on Helmets and Heels.
And she could run later this year even, and I would vote for her.
All things Mia are driven by Arlington Toyota on 1010XL.
Hey everybody, Jennifer Marion with Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville here to say hello, and we'd sure like to have your business.
You know what? They're going to love the king of price.
My dad believes in making great deals and having a great selection in stock.
Cadillac XT4s, XT5s, and XT6s, and Escalades.
The all-electric Cadillac Lyriq.
CT4s and CT5s.
Cadillac luxury and selection is just waiting for you.
At Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
And don't forget, tell them Jennifer sent ya.
I'm Stacy, and I want to tell you about my fogged up window fiasco at my house. I called up Mac at Baker Glass, and he told me all I needed was a glass replacement. The process was so easy. All within a few days, they came out, measured, called me with an estimate, cut my glass, and came out to install the new ones. Now my view outside is fog-free thanks to Mac and his crew at Baker Glass. And my neighbors think I got some fancy new windows.
I'm Mac with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Bull riding. The perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. Professional bull riders aren't just athletes. They're daredevils with cowboy souls. Come experience the true modern West, where 8 seconds of glory will create a lifetime of memories. It's the Michelob Ultra PBR Jacksonville at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, February 22nd and 23rd. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com and PBR.com. Hold on tight. The ride of your life is about to begin.
Nick in here with a message from Zero Res. Did you have people over for the holidays? Kids everywhere, dirt everywhere, all over the carpets, the rugs, the sofas, and chairs? Did the kitchen tile take a beating? Sounds like it's time to call my guys over at Zero Res. The Zero Res techs will get the house looking great again. Folks, if you need help cleaning up after the holiday, give Zero Res a call. Right now, 25% off carpet cleaning, 25% off upholstery cleaning. Zero Res. Spell it forwards. Zero Res. Spell it backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
If you're ready to transform your yard with a fence that stands out, elevate your curb appeal with Superior Fence and Rail. Superior takes pride in offering first-class service, friendly installers, and unmatched fence products. Mention this ad and get $250 off your next project. It's time to get off the fence and call today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The big story here today, Doug Peterson fired as the Jaguar head football coach. Maybe the bigger story at least for now, Trent Baalke is still the Jaguar general manager. There's been a lot of reaction. Let's go to Matt Verderam of Sports Illustrated. He's one of my favorites to talk NFL with, and he joins us here on 1010XL. Matt, it's been a little while, man. Hope all is well with you.
Hey, things are good. How are you?
Matt, we're good. Thank you for the time. All right, your reaction. Doug Peterson out, Trent Baalke remains here in Jacksonville.
Very surprised. Not that Peterson's out. I mean, that kind of seemed like it was a no-brainer. But so did Baalke being out. That also seemed like a no-brainer. And, you talk to people in the league, you talk to people around, not maybe team sources, but just around that area. And you're like, okay, what's going to happen? I think there's a general sense of like, well, they've got to get rid of Trent Baalke. I mean, there's no way you're not going to allow him to be there for another coach getting hired. And yet here we are. He remains for, I believe, this will be now his third head coach at Jacksonville. I know, in Shad Khan, it remains to be seen. It's just, where he kind of is a lot more involved day to day, and Baalke takes somewhat of a back seat. But then if that's the case, why is he still here?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very surprised. I thought that there would be a full house cleaning in Jacksonville, and there's not.
All right, let's start with Doug Peterson. Super Bowl winning coach, Matt, obviously. You're very familiar with him from the work you've done around the league for years. Yet it did not work out here in Jacksonville. In fact, he lost 18 of his final 23 games. Why did it not work for Doug here?
Look, I think it's just one of these deals, and it probably won't make Jags fans feel any better, but things went sideways, and it's like a car sliding on ice. Like, once it goes sometimes. Sometimes it's hard to get that traction back. And I think, last year you look at it, and, hey, look, his first season they go to the divisional round, making a lot of progress. And then, last year you felt like, really through Thanksgiving, hey, they're right where they should be. They were the 1 seed in, like, week 12. And then a lot of injuries. Lawrence gets hurt. Kirk got hurt. On and on and on. Team disintegrates. And I think that loss in Week 18 last year in Tennessee, I think was kind of the touchstone for like, okay, this is not going to be, not going to get this back on the tracks. Now, this year, there's a lot of things, right? The defense wasn't good. Lawrence was not good even when he played this year. I mean, he did not play well. And that's on Peterson. Peterson is a former NFL quarterback. That's just, his whole bread and butter is being able to run a really good offense, an efficient offense, get the quarterback to play the way he needs to play. That never happened. Part of it's offensive line, obviously. But, if I think it would have been one thing if they were scoring 30 a game and losing like the way the Bengals were losing. You'd go, okay, they got to fix the defense. But Peterson's still doing, his part of the deal. When you're not scoring points and you've invested as much as they have in that offense, that's kind of the end of the road.
Matt Verderam of Sports Illustrated here with us. Doug Peterson out. Trent Baalke remains. And, Matt, one of the points I've made here today is, look, I mean, there is some positive things that Trent Baalke has done. When you look at this roster, you can obviously talk about Brian Thomas Jr. That's an absolute grand slam. You look at Anton Harrison, Trayvon Walker, Tyson Campbell, Tank Bigsby, Brenton Strange. I mean, you can rattle them off, and they're all Trent Baalke draft picks. But my problem is, and I think a large percentage of the Jaguar fan base's problem is, for every positive you name that Baalke's done, you can probably name 2 or 3 negatives that offset it. And I just don't, for the life of me, understand why Shad Khan came to this decision today.
Well, and look, to your point, and it's a correct one, but to your point, all those guys you just mentioned, they're all top 100 picks. They never hit on guys 100 and back, ever. I mean, if you look at their 4 classes under Baalke, every pick they have, 4th round on, is inconsequential. They don't hit. And if you look at the best teams in the league, you hit on those mid to late round picks. Not all of them, of course. I mean, nobody would do that. But you've got to find some guys. You got to find some. I don't care that he drafted Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, no kidding. I mean, everybody in the world would draft Trevor Lawrence, right? Like, you're not getting credit in my book for that. Brian Thomas Jr., absolutely phenomenal pick, phenomenal. But also, like, should hit on your first round picks. They do not hit often enough on mid to late round picks. And when you look at free agency, they gave a lot of money to Gabe Davis. I mean, I think a lot of people, including myself in the moment, were like, I don't know that I would have paid Gabe Davis that kind of money. They have gone out and they have spent money, And they've had some good contracts, but they've had a lot of contracts you to look at. And, all right, well, I don't know that you do that again if you had the opportunity to go back and fix it. I also think the other part of this too is, and look, this isn't just a Jacksonville thing. This is an NFL thing. I never understand when teams fire a coach but keep the general manager. Because to me, unless the GM is somebody like Howie Roseman, okay, fine, I get that. But you now have to hire a coach. And if the next coach comes in and the Jags are, 7-10 next year, okay, well, if the roster stinks, you're going to get rid of Balky? Well, probably not, because now he's tied to this coach. I just think sometimes, the Giants kept Joe Shane and Brian Dable, and you could say that's a mistake, but to me, at least they kept them, paired. Once you split it, now it's almost like you're forcing yourself into an arranged marriage.
Couple of more from Matt Verderam of Sports Illustrated with Ryan Green here on 1010XL, and I completely agree with you. Now, again, I'm trying to do detective work on the statement that Shad Khan released earlier today, and he said that he made the statement about Doug, right? And then in the last paragraph, he goes, all right, I'm going to work with General Manager Trent Baalke and others close to the organization to find a guy that's going to come in and lead this team, essentially. I'm paraphrasing the end there. People here in Jacksonville, Matt, and again, I think they're just grasping at straws to an extent, but it is worth noting there was nothing that was really said about Trent Baalke. I find Trent Baalke to be the right guy for the job. I think Trent Baalke is going to be the GM here for a long time. There was nothing like that. All it mentioned was, I'm going to work with Trent Baalke to find a guy to lead this team, which I guess gives some Jaguar fans hope that maybe if enough coaches come in here and say, I'm not working with that guy, that might change the owner's mindset. Yeah, look, I think the fact that he's still there probably tells you all you need to know. I mean, if it takes that, then it's a calamity anyway, right? I mean, now here's the positive side for Jacksonville. If you look around the league at the openings, okay, we can go through, New Orleans, Vegas, the Jets, you name it, whoever you want to go to. You look around the league and New England, there's not, Jacksonville's probably a better job than all those jobs. I mean, you could maybe argue New England in the sense, okay, if you like Drake May, they've got a ton of cap space, real high pick. You could argue New England. Okay. New Orleans isn't a better job. The Raiders aren't a better job. I mean, the Jets, just so you live in New York, the Jets are a disaster. Nobody's lining up for that job. So the Bears job, again, it's a job that a lot of people, talk to people in the league, that is not an attractive job. I know people think, Caleb Williams, the infrastructure of that organization is such that a lot of people would not touch that job. I really think if you're Jacksonville, look, I think Ben Johnson, they got a real shot to get him. I think they have a very real shot to get him. Now, how much does Baalke being there hurt it? That's Ben Johnson's answer. I don't know. But it's a job where, look, there's a lot of pluses. You've got a quarterback. The owner's willing to spend money. Got a high pick. It's not a great division. You live in Florida, you get no state tax. There's a lot. I could see Jacksonville on some on coaches, radar as the number one job. I would not be shocked if a lot of prospective coaches felt that way. Final moments, Matt Verderam of SI. And to your point, you wonder how much it limits the coaching candidate pool that Baalke is here. The one thing I would note, at least with Ben Johnson, the two teams that he's been linked to the most, Chicago and Jacksonville, well, Chicago still has their GM too, right? Ryan Poles is still there, and Eberflus was shown the door. So if you're Ben Johnson and Chicago and Jacksonville are the two teams fighting over you, they both have current GMs in place. So that might help Jacksonville a little bit. I would say, too, that, look, if you're talking about those two jobs, I know Jacksonville, look, everybody listening knows, of course, intimately, that the Jags, it's been a struggle. But at the same point, if I'm Ben Johnson, that's not even a contest. I'm going to Jacksonville. And for no other reason, because when you look at the competition you're dealing with, yes, in the AFC, you have this looming specter of all the quarterbacks. But you look at the NFC North, that division is brutal. You could be good and finish in last place in that division. You go to Jacksonville, Tennessee's got the number one overall pick. Indianapolis is another team you look at and just, I don't know why the Colts feel they need to keep Chris Ballard for it feels like the 80th straight year. And then there's Houston.
who won the division and everybody thinks is a pretty mediocre team. So, like, if I'm Ben Johnson or any coach, I'm looking at that going, listen, if I think I can get Trevor Lawrence playing the way he needs to be playing, you know, I got talent. I got a Christian Kirk. I got Brian Thomas Jr. You know, yeah, we got to fix some things, obviously. But, you know, could you turn it around fairly quickly? Yeah, I think if you get the right coach, you probably could. So, I think Jacksonville's a much better job than Chicago.
Matt, as we say goodbye, why does Trent Baalke, and I'm asking you something just because I know you've been around the league for a while, Trent Baalke's got a negative connotation with the fan base here. A lot of fans are just tired of him, quite frankly. Yet the more people around the league you talk to, it seems to be mainly negative about him as well. Does that just stem back to leaving a bad taste in people's mouths from the San Francisco days?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's probably fair. You know, look, I don't, you know, certainly personally, I don't have any axe to grind with Trent or anything. I don't know Trent personally, you know, on any meaningful level. I just would say that, yeah, I think there is a lot of that. You know, that San Francisco thing ended poorly in a lot of ways. I mean, it was Trent, you know, Jim Harbaugh. You know, Jim Harbaugh. The Niners were basically like the first excuse they had. Harbaugh was out the door. And if you go back and look at the history of that, I think that last year it was 7-9. It was the first losing year they had with him. He was gone. That whole thing blew up kind of like a powder keg. And I think Harbaugh kind of rehabilitated his image to some degree by going to college and winning a national championship and kind of you know, laying low NFL wise for a few years. And I think it also helps too. He's a former player, all that stuff. Baalke, I think there was always a feeling of like he was a big part of the reason that thing blew up in San Fran, and it never really got people never really got past it.
You can read Matt Verderam's terrific work at SI. I hate having you on and not even talking playoffs with you. Quickly, of the 6 playoff games coming up this weekend, what's the most intriguing to you?
I think the biggest coin flip is Texans-Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
That of the 6 games, I look at that game. I don't know who the hell's going to win that game. I mean, Washington, Tampa, to some degree, I think Tampa's better. You know what? I'll throw you a curveball. I think that Buffalo-Denver game is going to be a lot more interesting than people think it's going to be.
Really?
Yeah. I think Buffalo's going to win. They're the better team. But Denver has a very good defense. They can cover man on man. They can get a ton of pressure with 4 guys. They lead the league in sacks. It's 68 sacks this year. I just think it's one of those things. If the Broncos defensively can hold up to some extent, you know, give up 23 points, Buffalo's defense has been atrocious. Like, is there a world in that, you know, in that game where Denver is just kind of living on third down and they're 10 of 15 on third down? I mean, the Bills are the 4th worst third down defense in football. I could see that being a game where we're all sitting here Sunday afternoon going, oh my God, it's tied. It's 2-minute warning. Like, I would not be shocked if Denver's in that game very late.
Should be a fun weekend. 6 playoff games coming up, 2 Saturday, 3 Sunday, and then, of course, Monday Night Football. Matt Verderam of SI. Matt, thank you for joining me on short notice. Busy times here in Jacksonville. We always appreciate you, man.
No problem, Ryan. Anytime.
Let's take a look inside 1010XL.
Who wants the Grand Tour? That would be terrific. That would be great.
We have the drill in the morning.
Very amusing.
Jaguars today from 10 to noon.
Good.
Helmets and heels until 2.
Yes.
XL Prime Time and the Franchi Show afternoons.
This is great.
Then Baloo and Hacker take you into the night.
All in one location.
1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
What's happening, fellas? It's your boy E to the T here, and it's a brand new year, which means a brand new you, especially in the bedroom. So if you're ready to make 2025 the year to level up where it counts, let me make it a little easier for you. Get yourself some Blue Chew. They've got a chewable tablet that has the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, and Staxin. That means you're getting top-tier performance, my boy, without leaving the house. Blue Chew comes right to your front door in a discreet package, so your neighbors won't even know what's going on. But you will. No doctor's offices and no pharmacy run. Just licensed medical providers helping you find the right prescription. And guess what? They're made right here in the USA. Oh, and did I mention it's free? Yeah, you heard me. Your first month is free. So what you waiting for? Visit BlueChew.com and get a consultation. And start your year off with confidence to keep things interesting in that bedroom. Get that Blue Chew at BlueChew.com, baby. Let's make this year unforgettable.
When you head out for a night with friends or going to the big game, don't forget the best game plan to win the night is to designate a driver and guarantee a safe ride home. Hydrating between buds is the best play you can make. Bud Light, reminding all to drink wiser.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees, about $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 15th.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach. Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
You can attend the Police Athletic League's 2-day boxing tournament at Julian Jackson Center, January 18th and 19th. Learn more at jaxpal.org.
The Wounded Warrior Project provides what medicine and technology can't: community, counseling, and a second chance. Find ways to help at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Your high school girls can join the Duval Tides girls rugby team. No tryouts and no experience necessary. Learn everything you need to know at Jack's HS Girls Rugby on Facebook and Instagram.
The Creeks Athletic Association in St. Johns County offers a variety of sports for children 5 to 18. Learn how to get your child involved at caaleague.org.
The Tom Coughlin J Fund helps families battling childhood cancer, and there are ways you can help. Go to tcjfund.org.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com.
Hey folks, Mike Detsy here for Pella Windows and Doors. Look, it's kind of cooling down right now. I love opening my windows up this time of year. If you're looking to upgrade your windows in your home, I want you to visit the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. Ask about their latest hurricane and impact-resistant windows and doors, rated #1 by Consumer Reports in all 3 main window categories. You want quality, style, and protection? Visit PellaJacks.com and the showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. That's Pella Windows and Doors online at PellaJacks.com.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro-Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projaxroofingfl.com.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
Mia here for Dream Finders Homes. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dream Finders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now is your chance to lock down the rate and get in the game. You heard me right, a 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershome.com for more details.
What is the most populated city in the world? The answer next.
When you file a claim with Southern Oak Insurance, we schedule one of our trusted vendors to work directly with you, which means a faster claim resolution. Find out more at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
With a population of an astounding 37.7 million people, Tokyo, Japan is the most populated city in the world.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
When it comes to towing products, your safety is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We'll take it till 10 o'clock as we do every night. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM. Coming up here in the 9 o'clock hour, Trevor Lane. He is the host of the NBA Front Office Show on YouTube. Talk a little association with him. We're almost at the halfway point of the NBA. Paolo Banchero made his return in Orlando tonight. We'll talk Magic. We'll talk NBA. Trevor Lane of the NBA Front Office Show at the bottom of the hour. Coming up in less than 10 minutes, Jared Bailey of the Sporting News as we continue to preview the NFL playoffs tomorrow and talk about the Jaguar head coaching search. Approaching halftime in the Cotton Bowl, the second national semifinal. Of course, the winner of this game will play Notre Dame for a national championship a week from Monday. It is still 7-0. Ohio State over Texas with about a minute to go in the second quarter. Denmark, good defense, bad offense, combination of the two. Where are we here?
Mostly good defense. Ohio State's kind of sputtered on offense. They haven't been hitting their stride. And Texas at midfield now, so it'll look like it'll be close once we get to the third quarter. It's a minute left till the half. I think Ohio State's going to get a big play, and I think they'll spring it and break it open.
7-0. Ohio State leads Texas. 1 minute to go in the first half. Again, the winner will take on the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame for the national championship a week from Monday. Remember Gator basketball on 1010XL here tomorrow as they take on John Calipari and the Arkansas Razorbacks out in Fayetteville. How will Florida respond coming off that 30-point demolishing of number 1 Tennessee? They've heard how great they are for the last couple of days. Now they hit the road to Fayetteville to take on the Razorbacks. Of course, you'll hear that game right here on 1010XL Radio. Again, switching gears to the NBA in about 25 minutes. Trevor Lane of the NBA Front Office Show. Coming up next, let's continue the NFL playoff conversation. Let's continue the Jaguar head coaching conversation. Jared Bailey of the Sporting News joins us next on a Friday evening in Jacksonville, Florida. We're glad you're with us heading into the weekend right here. It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
1010XL is your hometown team.
Everything's a challenge. Through adversity to the stars. From the last minute to the last man, we fight. We fight. We fight. We fight. We fight. We fight.
1010XL, where sports fans get together.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. Over 100 pounds down. You know, I remember last year, college basketball season, February. Man, I was 317 pounds. I'm now watching college basketball less than a year later, and I'm 210 pounds. Absolutely incredible. My goal is still to get under 200, and I'll get there. There's no doubt about that. I'm down over 100 pounds, but I'm not satisfied just yet. I want to get under 200, and I can do that with the best weight loss program out there, Awaken 180 Weight Loss. The results speak for themselves. Guys, if I can do it, you can do it. Go to awaken180weightloss.com, awaken180weightloss.com. If it's time for you, like it was for me, take it from somebody who's lost over 100 pounds with them and go to Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a professional stamp licker from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Martin Celery.
Oh, gosh. I can't wait to play, Bob.
Well, let's move things along. Tell him what he's won, Johnny.
Wait.
but
That's right, Marty. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, we've stocked up on the remaining inventory of low-cost 2024 model air conditioners, so you win. We're passing the savings on to you.
Can I answer a question first?
We need to make room for the 25s, so we're offering great deals on AC replacements while supplies last.
Could I spin the wheel at least? I've been practicing for a year.
With last-minute deals like this, there's no question that you are cool.
What'll I tell my kids?
There you go. Have a souvenir t-shirt.
Thanks.
Stay cooler with Bueller. Visit BuellerAir.com.
Ever have one of those days where your gut just feels blah?
Ugh, yes.
Occasional bloating or gas could be signs that your gut is out of balance, but Align Probiotic can help. Align 24/7 Digestive Support is a daily use probiotic with a unique strain to help relieve occasional digestive issues. It's the #1 doctor-recommended brand. So when you feel the signs, it's time to try Align. Align Probiotic. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Mia here. Why Arlington Toyota? How about a huge selection of new vehicles in stock, on the ground, in one location? And every new Toyota purchase comes with Arlington's lifetime warranty, unlimited time, and miles. 60-day exchange program. Yes, you heard that right. 60 days to love your new purchase or exchange it for one that you do. Plus, Arlington's credit helper to help you get financed. There's even complimentary car washes with every service, and so much more. Shop arlingtontoyota.com today.
All right, here we go.
Former Jaguars QB David Garrard joins Jaguars today to talk Jags.
All right, guys.
Mondays on 1010XL.
Let's go, Googans. Let's go, Googans.
Brought to you by WaterboyJax.com.
What is that?
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Have you or someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI and all criminal offenses. I've been named the best DUI attorney in the state, and David has been named the best criminal defense lawyer in Jacksonville. In your battle with the justice system, there is only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645.
Hey, this is Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA. Youth sports at the Y can help nurture your future athlete's potential and experience the joy of being a kid. At the Y, we're providing a safe, clean, and fun environment with basketball, soccer, volleyball, gymnastics, elite skills training, and more. Best of all, participation in Legacy Youth Sports League is free with your family membership. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Ammon, you're always talking about how clean air is healthy air. I've had this cold for weeks. Can cleaning my air ducts actually help?
Well, Dad, I'm not a doctor, and let's be honest, you probably caught that cold from one of your grandkids. But I can tell you this, the cleaner your air, the better you'll feel.
Makes sense, but what do air ducts have to do with it?
Your ducts are like the lungs of your home. If they're full of dust, allergens, and who knows what else, all that junk gets blown into the air you breathe, especially now that the heat's running. And the EPA says improving indoor air quality can reduce health risk.
So you're telling me my vents are working harder than my immune system?
Exactly. That's why Zero Res is here. We're NADCA certified, and our truck mount system is the most powerful in the industry. Right now, we're even offering $100 off your total for January.
All right, sign me up. If it makes me feel better and keeps your mom off my back, I'm all in.
Good call, Dad.
Zero Res.
Spelled border backwards.
It's the right way to clean.
CEROREC. Zero Res.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Of course, the big news here in Jacksonville, Doug Peterson out as the Jaguar head coach. They need a new one, and one of the men that'll be leading that charge is Trent Baalke, who has been retained as the Jacksonville Jaguar general manager, much to the chagrin of basically every Jaguar fan here in the city of Jacksonville. There is a lot to get into with that. Jared Bailey of the Sporting News is one of our favorites when it comes to talking NFL, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Jared, how are you, man?
Better than Jaguars fans, apparently, but I'm good. How are you?
We're good. Boy, there's so much to get into here with you. Let's begin with kind of the guy that's almost been forgotten in this whole situation, and that's Doug Peterson, who was the one guy that actually did lose his job. He was fired Monday morning after 3 years. 22-29 was his overall regular season win-loss record. Jarrett, in your opinion, man, why did it not work out for Doug Peterson here in Jacksonville?
I think a lot of it came back to not being able to connect with the players. I think there's a lot of more pointing fingers rather than looking in the mirror when things went south. And the constant defensive press Taylor, I know that was a big issue in Jacksonville where the offense wasn't clicking, but he never seemed to put any of the blame on his offensive coordinator. And a lot of that seemed to really, drive a lot of the offense crazy. And then defensively, they bring in Ryan Nielsen this past year, which, a lot of people, myself included, were like, all right, that's a good hire. You're bringing in a real defensive coordinator. And then defensively, they were, second to last in the NFL in total offense, the worst passing or total defense, the worst passing defense in the NFL. So, I don't know, a lot of it just kind of hit the fan at the same time. And with Peterson, you could tell that he was checked out by, once they came back from London, it was like, all right, yeah, this thing's pretty much done. They get blown up by Buffalo on Monday night. They had the issue in London where the Bears beat them up pretty badly. And, you had the comments from Travis Etienne as well in that span where, there was a lack of accountability. I think all of it just added up into a big mosh of just this wasn't going to work. So it was the right decision to fire Doug and move on and try to find somebody else. But in lieu of it, yeah, you mentioned like keeping Trent Baalke around. You cut off part of the snake, but the head still remains, and that's the biggest issue right now.
Well, that certainly is an issue with the Jaguar fan base. And look, I'm going to ask you a lot of things about Trent Baalke, and it's going to be fairly negative. But if there is a positive, and don't get me wrong, there has been some positive with Baalke. You look at it, Jared. Again, Jared Bailey of the Sporting News here with us. All right. Anton Harrison, Walker Little, obviously Brian Thomas Jr., that goes without saying. Britton Strange, Tank Bigsby, Trayvon Walker, Tyson Campbell, go on down the line. There have been some good draft picks by Trent Baalke. It's not been all awful, but every time you bring up a positive, you can probably bring up 2 or 3 negatives, including just an atrocious free agent haul last year. I think that's the frustration for Jaguar fans. They don't see what owner Shad Khan sees in him to allow him to stick around now for his 3rd different head coach.
Yeah, and I think that there was a little bit of praise for Baalke at one point in the offseason because they got the Trevor Lawrence extension done, they got the Josh Allen extension done, which was like, all right, those are like the 2 biggest things atop the list in terms of like, all right, hopefully they keep around the stars and can actually build around what they've got going. And then obviously you mentioned all the draft picks that have worked. It's just free agent wise, there's been a lot of mishaps. Trade wise, there's been a lot of mishaps. The Calvin Ridley deal, which a lot of people are like, all right, that gives Trevor Lawrence a real weapon. Obviously, that doesn't work out, and he goes to Tennessee. So there's just been a lot of miscalculations in terms of bringing in guys, whether it be free agent or trading. Just the talent evaluation part of it that hasn't worked. They've had issues, especially like when it comes to, you brought up the good draft pick side of it, but when it comes to like the off-ball linebacker spot, that's been a pretty big issue in recent years as well when it comes to bringing in different guys. So I think that, I mean, nobody's perfect, and I understand that. But if you're going to get rid of the head coach, I think it just made a lot of sense to also get rid of Trent Baalke, who had just as much of a hand in all of this as Doug Peterson, and just start anew, especially with how this process goes around the league more often than not, where you pair a GM with a head coach, you bring them in together and have one joint vision on how to start this thing over, rather than, all right, we're going to keep around the guy in the front office, but the new head coach isn't going to report to him. He's going to report to the owner. And it's just a big, complicated maze of a chain of command that makes no sense. So, yeah, I mean, I'm in full agreement with the Jaguars fans, and I feel bad for them, because this was supposed to be kind of a day where they could be like, all right, we're going to look forward to seeing what they do in terms of both hires. Hopefully they get them both right, and we have something to look forward to in 2025. But now I think there's just going to be this cloud of doubt because of who's still at the head of things. And that's unfortunate for a fan base that had a lot of hope after, winning a playoff game just a couple seasons ago. And now, even with a good quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, there's still going to be a lot of doubt surrounding what's put around him.
General managers don't get 3 head coaches, which is what Trent Baalke is going to get here in Jacksonville. He was the GM when Urban Meyer was hired, when Doug Peterson was hired, and now Jared, he'll be the GM when the 3rd head coach is hired. He's also going to be making his 3rd draft pick in the top 5 in the draft. Trevor Lawrence, Trayvon Walker, and they pick 5th in April's draft coming up here in 2025. And you go back to think about his survival skills in San Francisco after the whole Harbaugh situation. Man, I'll tell you, Trent Baalke needs to go on Survivor on CBS, man, because he would do wonders there. Outwit, outplay, outlast. He knows the game. You want to talk about the ultimate survivor, give Trent Baalke that, because he has more lives than a cat when it comes to the NFL in his career.
Yeah, and I mean, you talk to 49ers fans today, there's still a lot of disdain for Trent Baalke for all the reasons that you just pointed out, when it comes back to everything that took place with the Harbaugh situation and the aftermath when it came to Jim Tomsula and then eventually Chip Kelly. Like, it was just a mess. And, I think everything that can be said about Trent Baalke has been said, where, you said it, for every good move, for every good draft pick, you can point out probably a handful of things that didn't work. And I just don't understand where Shad Khan is coming from with all this. It doesn't make a lot of sense from an organizational standpoint, from a winning standpoint, to bring back a guy who just hasn't proven that he has the ability to build a winning team. Even when they did go to the playoffs, it was in a year where no one expected it, and they went 9-8. And yeah, they won a playoff game, but that playoff game is largely regarded more for the fact that the Chargers absolutely choked it away, more so than the Jaguars won it. So even with, the many senses of accomplishment, it comes with caveats, and it just doesn't make sense. I think that that's the overarching issue with the Baalke situation in Jacksonville, is that it doesn't make sense. And it's just another, notch on the belt of a lot of things that the Jaguars fans have had to deal with over the last however many years. In a line of just disappointment after disappointment. So, I mean, we're just going to have to see what happens. Not to be that guy who's like, oh, well, let's let it play out. I don't know how it's going to play out, but history tells us it's not going to be good.
Yeah, since Shad Khan bought the team before the 2012 season, the Jaguars' regular season record is 64-148. You want to talk about a long-suffering fan base? It is right here in Jacksonville. Final moments, Jared Bailey of the Sporting News. All right, the coaching search. Obviously, Ben Johnson. Now, people think this will eliminate Jacksonville from the Ben Johnson sweepstakes. The one thing that I would push back a little bit on, Jared, is the other team linked to him is Chicago, and they didn't fire their GM either. I mean, if Ben Johnson wants to come in with his own GM, it ain't going to work in Chicago either, because they have Ryan Poles still employed. So how do you think that whole Ben Johnson thing is going to work itself out?
Yeah, I think that that's going to be a big deciding factor into it. And if he doesn't want to go there, then I think they'll shift their attention to more of a defensive-minded coach, which, again, we talked about already. The defense wasn't good this year. And, we've seen, Aaron Glenn just put on another masterclass against Minnesota with, a bunch of guys that are on IR. So the job that he's done this year, he's certainly going to be a guy that gets a job. And, if you are the Jaguars and you can get one of those Lions guys, maybe he brings Mark Brunell with him. I mean, that would be a good story in and of itself. If they hire Aaron Glenn and then Mark Brunell's back in Jacksonville as the offensive coordinator. So I think that there's going to be something to that where, if Ben Johnson doesn't want to go there for that reason, they kind of shift over to Aaron Glenn and see if he would be interested in the job. And then, we'll see the staff that he built around him. If they wanted to go the Vrabel route, I think that ship has sailed just because the Patriots have made it pretty clear that's what they're going to do. I don't think that they fire Gerard Mayo if they don't have Mike Vrabel all but signed already. So I think that's a name that I'm kind of leaving off other lists just because I think that New England kind of has that wrapped up. Joe Brady, maybe from Buffalo. He's done a tremendous job. The Bills are 20-6 since he's taken over as the offensive coordinator, and he did a great job with them this year, leading them to, have the most points in franchise history with a built from broken parts kind of receiving corps. So there's going to be a lot of names to look at. I mean, hell, Pete Carroll, maybe. It was reported a while back that he wanted to get back into coaching. So maybe they take a swing at him. There's going to be a lot of names. I think that the coaching pool this year is far deeper than it was a season ago. Especially after Ben Johnson decided to stay in Detroit. So there's going to be a lot of hot names. And it's a matter of the Jaguars just need to get someone where, it's not like a David Culley situation in Houston a few years ago. Like if they can just get one of these, hot commodities, give them a little bit of time to really make something of it, then it could work out. But if it's a name out of left field, like, Matt Nagy's getting head coaching interviews right now with the Jets. Like, don't make it one of those. Like Mike Kafka, the offensive coordinator from the Giants, is getting head coaching interviews. Don't do one of those where it just makes no sense. If you can get an Aaron Glenn, that's a good hire, and allow him to build a good staff around him, then that's great. But it needs to be one of the bigger names if they can get one, because again, if you're just kind of hiring a sitting duck head coach, then you're basically punting on 2025. And, maybe Trevor Lawrence starts having some thoughts of his own where it's like, all right, do I really want to stick around for a situation like this? And I think that's the last thing that Jaguars fans would really want is Trevor Lawrence having second thoughts on his future in Jacksonville. So get the head coach right. Get a good offensive staff in, fix the defense. It's a long haul. It's not going to be a one-year project, but if they have, a good plan set with whomever they hire, then it could turn itself around.
Jared, as we begin to wrap up, I think you made a great point. Look, Ben Johnson, maybe he'll want his GM. It might be a deal breaker for him. But as you said, whether it's Aaron Glenn, Joe Brady, I would toss out Liam Cohen, the OC in Tampa. I mean, there are only 32 head coaching jobs on planet Earth in the National Football League. Not everybody is going to be a deal breaker just because Trent Baalke is still employed here. The Jaguars still have the opportunity to get somebody pretty good. I just think, maybe if your ambition was Ben Johnson or somebody like that, maybe that ship has sailed. But I agree. A Joe Brady, a Liam Cohen, and Aaron Glenn, somebody along those lines, it could be at least salvageable. Final question while we have you here. I can't have you on without asking at least one playoff question. Wild card weekend, 6 games coming up. What's the most, maybe 1 or 2 intriguing games to you this upcoming weekend?
My boldest take, and it's probably a homer take, but I said that the Steelers were going to go into Baltimore and win. So that's kind of my big swing of the weekend. They've lost 4 straight. One of those games was in Baltimore, but the final score was a little bit more misleading than what the game actually played out to be. They had a red zone turnover. And it was 24-17 when Russell Wilson threw a pick 6. So, the game was closer, and if not for those 2 just completely game-changing plays, I think Pittsburgh has a very good chance at winning. They won the first matchup as well. And it looks like there's going to be like a good amount of snow heading to Baltimore before the game, so it's going to be messy, it's going to be sloppy, and that's exactly the kind of game that the Steelers want to play. Low scoring, rely on the defense, make enough plays to win, and don't turn the ball over. So if they can do that, I think that – plus they've had incredible success against Lamar Jackson. He's only beaten them twice in his career. So that's a game that I think, not every game is going to, go the way we think. I think, there's going to be at least one upset. And if I had to put a stamp on which one I think it's going to be, I'll say that Pittsburgh, who has a lot of success against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens over the past, half decade or more, that's one that I'll circle and say, yeah, that'll be my upset pick. So keep an eye out for that.
Should be a fun weekend. You can follow along. Jared Bailey at the Sporting News. He'll have a lot of coverage as we head in to Wild Card Weekend coming up in a couple of days. Again, Jared Bailey of the Sporting News. Jared, thank you for joining me on short notice. I know you're busy. Really appreciate it. We'll do it again soon, man.
Absolutely, man. No problem. Thanks.
Find Florida Gators basketball on 1010XL.
The 8th-ranked Gators take the momentum from their 30-point trouncing of top-ranked Tennessee to Fayetteville, Florida, Arkansas. Tomorrow at 4 on 92.5 FM.
New Year's resolutions. But let's be honest. By February, that gym membership is just a $50 a month guilt trip.
So why not take that cash and finally fix your leaky faucet, unclog that drain, or tune up your AC?
Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning has your back. Start the year fresh. No leaks, no clogs, no excuses.
It's a resolution you'll actually keep.
Call Duck Rooter at 904-862-6769 today. Because when you're stuck, call the Duck. Right now, get $50 off any service of $150 or more.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees, about $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 15th.
How much do the performers for Super Bowl halftime shows get paid?
Filing an insurance claim following a storm shouldn't be an ordeal. Southern Oak Insurance's claim team prepares for catastrophic situations well in advance. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Super Bowl performers are not paid for their shows, but production costs are covered by the NFL, which could go as high as $15 million.
Southern Oak Insurance, our family protecting yours. If you're tired of weekend projects turning into weekend disasters, you're not alone. Building a fence isn't as easy as it looks. And let's face it, your neighbor still hasn't fixed his lopsided masterpiece. But Superior Fence and Rail makes it easy. Highly trained professionals, top quality materials, and a fence you'll love for years to come. Skip the stress and call the pros today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Sometimes you agree with him, sometimes you don't.
On the runway, I'm coming in hot.
CBS Sports senior NFL writer Pete Prisco joins the Frangie Show Friday afternoons on 1010XL. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles.
Hicken here for Bow 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bow 9. Visit Bow 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bow 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Start your new year off healthy. Get screened at Ackerman Urology for common cancers of the prostate, bladder, and kidney. Early detection is key with 5 locations across Northeast Florida. Visit AckermanUrology.com.
Mia here. Since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made the process so easy. She came to my house and designed a walk-in closet that's not only beautiful, but also incredibly functional for me and old Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 800-293-3744. Hey, and if you mention Mia or Helmets and Heels, you'll qualify for free base molding. Call today or visit closetsbydesign.com.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
When it comes to towing products, your safety on the road is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Whether it's a heavy-duty tow hitch, trailer frame, wiring, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com to explore a range of products and schedule your installation. Cannons of Jacksonville, your trusted partner for a smoother toe.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Hard to believe the NBA is nearing the midway point, right? Most teams are approaching game number 40 of the regular season. There has been a lot going on, and I think a lot of attention in markets like Jacksonville will soon turn to the NBA now that the NFL regular season has come to an end. And when you look down to our neighbors in Orlando, what a 40 games it's been for the Magic. Still fourth in the East despite just horrific injuries, but some of those injury problems have now gone away. We'll get into that. Trevor Lane, NBA front office show. He's also the host of Lakers Nation. He's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Trevor, hope you had a happy holidays and a happy new year, man. How are you?
Oh, happy New Year to you as well. I'm doing as well as can be at the moment, and appreciate you having me back on to talk some NBA. It's an exciting time of the year for the league for sure.
Yeah, there's no doubt as we near the halfway point. Let's immediately dive in with Orlando. The last time you and I talked was about a month and a half ago, and at that point, they were without Paolo, but things were still going pretty good, and then wham, they lose Franz Wagner about 5 weeks ago now, and they've been without both of their best players for the last 35 some odd days. I know Paolo makes his return tonight, and we'll get into that, but how surprised are you, Trevor, that with all the injuries in Orlando, not only is their head still above water, but heck, they'd have home court in the first round right now?
Yeah, I mean, surprised, impressed, definitely. Yeah, the Orlando Magic have been, their ability to stay afloat has been incredibly impressive. I know it's the East, but still, they've been doing a great job. And the East has gotten better as the season has gone along. You look, they're 5-5 in their last 10, but you know what? Missing the players they have, that's all you can ask for. They've been fantastic. They managed to get that big win over the Knicks the other night. This has been a team, and I'll tell you what. You look at it's Orlando in the East right now. It's Memphis in the West. These are two teams that have both gotten hit hard by injuries and have managed to still stay afloat and survive. And that's going to give both these clubs a chance to really make a push here as we head into the second half of the season, maybe into the trade deadline. They've really done well to weather this storm. Not everybody has done as well. You look at what's happened to the New Orleans Pelicans. They've been crushed this season by injuries. Dead last in the Western Conference right now. So this is a really impressive job by the Orlando Magic to find a way to win games despite missing so many players, and it's a testament to the heart that we're seeing on this team for sure.
Mo Wagner, the only one that will not come back, torn ACL. He's out for the year, but they've been without Paolo Banchero. They've been without Franz Wagner. They've been without Gary Harris. They've been without Jalen Suggs for the last week and a half. I mean, just crazy injuries, and yet finally some good news, Trevor, as Paolo Banchero makes his return tonight, actually playing right now against Milwaukee. And look, I mean, I think it's going to take some time to get him back up to speed, obviously, to see the Paolo that we're used to. But just having him out on the court has got to be an emotional lift for this roster.
Absolutely. I mean, it's an emotional lift for sure. He was playing, I mean, he only played 5 games, but he was playing so great. I thought this year was going to be a breakout year, not in the sense for Magic fans necessarily. Like, Magic fans know how good Paolo Banchero is, but I thought this is the year that the rest of the league, on a national level, was going to get a real sense of how good Paolo Banchero is, even as he takes another step for the home fans to see. I think this is the year that Paolo was going to burst onto the scene and really hit that true star status in the NBA. And in the 5 games that we saw, he was awesome. He even had a 50-point game So it looked like he was on track to do just that. I am so happy that he is back. He's in action. Such an incredible player and such an important piece for the Magic. And I'll tell you, part of the reason why they've managed to stay afloat has been their defense. But of course, offensively, they've suffered without having Paulo Banchero, without having Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs, all the pieces they've missed. Paulo gives them, it's not just getting Paulo back. It's getting him back, given that he fits the need of exactly the shot in the arm on the offensive end that this team needs. That's so exciting. I mean, he's an extremely talented player, and he comes in and he'll help any team, but he is exactly what the Magic are missing right now, in addition to a few other pieces. But he can give them just such a boost as we head into the second half of the season. So this is big time, and so glad to see Orlando getting Paulo back.
Banchero is the first domino to fall. Gary Harris will come back at some point. Jalen Suggs will come back at some point. Franz Wagner will come back at some point, I would think by mid-February, probably maybe a little over a month from now, assuming no other injuries happen, which I don't know if I should assume that based on the year Orlando's had. But if they stay reasonably healthy, they should have all their guys that are coming back by mid-February. And Trevor, at that point, how good is Orlando in the East? I mean, could they compete with the Knicks for the third spot? I mean, where do you see Orlando when these guys return?
Yeah, so that's the key, right? Can they get to where the Knicks are right now and get into that tier? Right now, I look at the Eastern Conference, and I've got a top two. I've got the Cavs and the Celtics, and I don't think that's a hot take or anything like that. I think it's those two teams. I know the Cavs have a 5.5 game lead on the Celtics, but I think most people look at the Celtics and say, well, maybe they're taking their foot off the gas a little bit here during the season, and they're not going to go all out. They're the reigning champs, championship hangover, all that. So I've got the Cavs and the Celtics in the top tier. And then after that, I think it's the Knicks are in a tier by themselves currently. And then there's the Magic and the Bucks, and the Pacers are kind of knocking on the door trying to get in there. The Miami Heat maybe would be there if they had things settled out with Jimmy Butler. But right now it's Orlando and Milwaukee that I think are in that tier just below the Knicks. I think Orlando, if they get healthy, they've got the potential here to make that push up and be a clear-cut second-tier team right there with New York. And that would be a solid stride for them here. And then, if they can find the right move or two at the trade deadline, maybe they make that push and they try to really go after these top two in the Cavs and the Celtics. But I do think the goal here is, as they get guys healthy, it's to be a very clear second-tier team in the East with the Knicks and get some separation from Milwaukee, who right now are just a game and a half behind the Magic.
Trevor Lane of the NBA Front Office Show. He's also the host of Lakers Nation with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Trevor, I want to end looking around the league. Final thought on Orlando. Jamal Mosley's the coach of the year now, right? I mean, is there even a conversation, or do I just have my Magic blinders on?
No, I think he's got a great case for it. Coach of the year is usually, it's almost become a misnomer. It goes to the team that exceeds expectations the most. That's just typically the way it goes. So I could see like Ime Udoka with the Houston Rockets could certainly get some love. They're the 2 seed in the Western Conference right now. He could certainly get into it. But the injuries that the Magic have had to withstand, that and to be clear, I don't have a vote, but if I did have a vote, I would go with Mosley.
Yeah, it's been really, really impressive. All right, as we look around the East, we mentioned, Cleveland and Boston, New York third. You mentioned the Magic, Milwaukee. I'll tell you, Indiana looks like they're getting better. Atlanta looks like they're much improved, at least what I thought they would be. At least the top 5 or 6 in the East, it looks to be somewhat competitive. Now, there are some awful teams in the bottom of the Eastern Conference. Can anybody really challenge Cleveland or Boston when it comes to playoff time?
Right now, I would have to say no. The way the Cavs are playing right now, it's hard to imagine anybody really pushing Cleveland. That said, if you're going to do it, it would be a team situated the way the Magic are. I mean, what's the old adage? You win championships with defense. Defense wins championships. The Magic have that. And the Magic have the ability to be a pest on that side of the floor. And that's what I think could potentially get the job done. But right now, I mean, that the other night, the Cavs Thunder game that we saw, my goodness, that execution-wise, both sides of the ball, those teams were playing at such a high level. I don't know if we've seen two teams play at that level all season. That may have been the best game of the season. So I have a hard time picking against the Cavs or the Celtics right now in the Eastern Conference. But again, if there was going to be an upset, typically the way you're going to see that happen is with a really good defensive team that can get stops, and then they get somebody going on the offensive end. You get somebody on a heater for a playoff series. The Magic may fit that bill, so I wouldn't completely write them off. But if I had to pick right now, I wouldn't bet against either the Cavs or the Celtics coming out of the East. I think it's going to be one of those two.
Is Oklahoma City the best team in the West right now?
Yes. Yeah, they have separated themselves by a pretty wide margin. Their defense is just phenomenal. They could use maybe a creator, and maybe they've got plenty of assets to go find that at the trade deadline. But yes, OKC has separated themselves. It is OKC and then everybody else in the Western Conference right now.
Who would be, in your opinion, the biggest challenge or two they'll have in the playoffs?
You know, I think the Rockets can certainly make a case. I think they're an interesting team defensively with what they can do. The Memphis Grizzlies have played phenomenal basketball, but specifically for the matchup with OKC, where they've struggled in the past is in the post. I'm still going to lean on the big guy, Nikola Jokic. I mean, he may be the MVP again. Maybe it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. We'll see. But if Jokic has an absolute dominant series against the Thunder in the post, and Chet Holmgren, when he comes back, if he struggles to deal with Jokic, that could be a team that could really give them a series. In their matchup, they had a matchup early on in the season, though, where Chet played Jokic almost to a standstill. If they get that, it's game over. But if Jokic can dominate his matchup in the post, which he certainly has the ability to do, I think Denver could give OKC a real run.
Final moments, Trevor Lane, the host of the NBA Front Office Show. Anytime we talk NBA here in Jacksonville, I'm contractually obligated to ask about LeBron and the Lakers. That's something you know very well. You're also the host of Lakers Nation. What about LA? Can they do something as we get to the midway point? Are they going to be active at the trade deadline?
Yeah, they're certainly going to be active at the trade deadline. They're going to be doing what they can to add pieces to this roster. We've heard they're looking for perhaps a big, maybe some athleticism on the perimeter, but they are waiting to see how pieces fit together right now after making a trade for Dorian Finney-Smith with the Brooklyn Nets. They want to see how he fits in, and then especially right now, Jared Vanderbilt ramping up to return from injury. Same thing with Christian Wood. He hopefully is going to be coming back soon, but it sounds like Jared Vanderbilt's return is probably within the next couple of weeks. Nothing official as of right now, but just what we've heard in terms of his progress suggests that it'll be a couple of weeks and we'll see Jared Vanderbilt back. So I think the team wants to get a sense of what do all the pieces look like once they get Vanderbilt back into the mix, and then they'll make some decisions at the trade deadline and go from there.
Trevor, final question. You mentioned the trade deadline. We know the Jimmy Butler soap opera that's developing in Miami. Zach LaVine this time of the year seemingly always is on the trade block. De'Aaron Fox in Sacramento is an interesting name. I mean, how active do you think the deadline could be, and who are some of the big names?
So I think you hit the nail on the head with some of the big names. Some other guys, Brandon Ingram could be another one. Nikola Vucevic has been playing great in Chicago. That's another guy that could be on the move. The Blazers have plenty of reason to move on from like a Jeremy Grant, Robert Williams, players like that. The Nets will continue to be a seller. Cam Johnson, I would expect him to be moved by the trade deadline. So I think it's going to be an active deadline. The new collective bargaining agreement is a challenge to try to make trades under the new system. But I think you've got two really important things. You've got motivation on the buyer side, which we typically have. You've got a number of teams that say, you know what, why not us? We could be the team to make a real run. So we've got a lot of buyers on the market. But this year, we also have a lot of sellers. You mentioned the teams at the bottom are pretty bad. Well, this is a phenomenal draft class. There is method to the madness here. These teams that are bad, they are having their eyes right now on Dylan Harper, on Cooper Flagg, on some of the exciting young prospects coming into the NBA this summer. So I think there's going to be motivation on the seller side too. We've already seen it from the Brooklyn Nets, getting guys off their rosters so they don't accidentally win too many games. So I think we're going to have both of those things. We're going to have a dynamic where we have motivated sellers, motivated buyers, and to me, that's a recipe for a very active trade deadline.
Trevor, leave us with this. There are some Miami Heat fans here in Jacksonville. How does this Jimmy Butler situation play itself out?
I think it ultimately resolves with a trade. I think he winds up being traded somewhere. I know there's posturing on both sides right now. To me, I keep going back to the Golden State Warriors as a team that makes a ton of sense. And I'm disappointed in Jimmy for reportedly not wanting to go to the Memphis Grizzlies, because I think that would have made a lot of sense and been a good trade partner for the Heat. But if he's out on Memphis as well as Milwaukee, I think Golden State still makes the most sense if the two sides can eventually see eye to eye.
Trevor, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville about the NBA front office show, also about Lakers Nation, where they can find your work.
Sure, yeah. You can find me over on the NBA front office show. I host that Monday through Friday, 5 days a week with Keith Smith. We get on there and talk about all the latest news going on around the NBA. And then if you're a Lakers fan or interested in Lakers coverage over at the Lakers Nation YouTube channel, you can find me over there, as well as the LakersNation.com podcast. So we've got everything covered there every single day on all things Lakers. So a lot going on around the league, Lakers and otherwise, but plenty out there for people to go find.
He's one of our favorites when it comes to the association, Trevor Lane of the NBA front office show. Trevor, I know you're busy. Thank you for taking time out. We'll talk again soon, pal.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
And thank you to Trevor Lane of the NBA front office show for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark. Hard to believe we're almost to the halfway point of the NBA season. The Orlando Magic got a little healthier tonight. Paolo Banchero is back, still waiting on Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs, Gary Harris, among others. The Magic have been unbelievably beat up, and yet despite that, as of tonight, they're still fourth in the Eastern Conference as we reach almost the midway point of the NBA season. So we certainly talked some NBA tonight, but obviously, by and large, it was still a ton on the Jacksonville Jaguars and what has been a very interesting week here in Jacksonville. Obviously, on Monday morning, Doug Peterson fired. Trent Baalke retained as Jaguar general manager. The head coaching search well underway. Steve Spagnuolo reportedly interviewed virtually with the Jaguars today. Tomorrow, the Jaguars are expected to virtually interview via Zoom both Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, the coordinators in Detroit. Next Tuesday, reportedly Robert Saleh will be in for an interview, and, more interviews will continue next week as this head coaching process continues, not only for Jacksonville, but for the other 5 clubs in the NFL that currently have head coaching vacancies. Well, that'll just about do it. It has been a very busy Friday night and a very busy week here on Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, Trevor Lane is the host of the NBA front office show. You also see him on the Lakers Nation YouTube channel. We always appreciate Trevor joining us here in the city of Jacksonville. Thank you to Easton Freeze, A2ZSports.com, covering the National Football League, talking not only Jacksonville, but looking around the rest of the NFL as well. Likewise, Matt Verderam of Sports Illustrated, one of my favorites to talk NFL with. Always enjoy the conversation with Matt as we broke down the Jaguar coaching search. And back in hour number 1, my buddy Cecil Shorts, former wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You get him every week here on Hacker After Dark, and it was interesting hearing Cecil's perspective, not only of the Doug Peterson firing, but of the retainment of Jaguar general manager Trent Baalke. Now, we will be back on Monday, and we will do it all over again to kick off a new week here on Hacker After Dark, beginning at 8 o'clock. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I am the Hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending not only your Friday evening with us, but your entire week with us here on Hacker After Dark. As we always tell you, and we cannot possibly tell you enough how much we absolutely appreciate it. So for all of us here on HAD, have a terrific remainder of your Friday evening and a fantastic weekend. And we will talk to you on Monday right here on Hacker After Dark, beginning at 8 o'clock. Until then,